Nigeria, it belongs to us. It belongs to us. We will never let you have it. It belongs to us. We will never let you.
What if I tell you that Nigerian problem didn't just start after independence? They were designed long before 1960. And wait for a minute, who designed it? What happened next will surprise you. Let's go back to 1914. A British colonial officer named Frederick Lugard did the unthinkable. He did what will forever shape the future of Nigeria.
The northern and southern protectorates shall be one, unified as Nigeria from this day, 1914.
Now what he did was he merged the northern protectorate and the southern protectorate. No referendum, no consultation, no plan of unity, only one goal: economic convenience for Britain. Now think about this. A country of over 250 ethnic groups forced into one nation overnight. No shared identity. No common vision. That wasn't nation building, that was a national disaster.
Nigeria, it belongs to us. Nigeria, it belongs to us. Nigeria, it belongs to us. Nigeria, it belongs to us.
Now, here is where it gets even more deeper. Britain didn't just merge Nigeria, they ruled Nigeria using a system called divide and rule. What happened next will surprise you. Instead of uniting the people, they spent time strengthening ethnic identities, empowering local rulers differently, and made regions compete against each other. Now here's a quick question. How do you unite a people when you spend decades teaching them how to distrust each other?
Secure their loyalty first. The West must hold. No concessions to radicals navigated. The East is vital. Keep them united.
That is definitely not how to unite people. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. By the 1940s and 1950s, political party had already formed, but it might interest you to know that it was not based on ideology, but based on ethnicity. Some of these political parties were the Northern People's Congress, the Action Groups, the National Council of Nigeria, and the Cameroons. Now wait for a second. This right here is what makes Nigerian politics up to today feels like a tribal contest instead of national projects. Another important part of this conversation we should never ignore is the education, because this part is rarely discussed, but it is extremely important. In the southern part of the country, the British missionary built schools and educates people. But in the north, education was intentionally limited. That brought about the mass illiteracy in the north we see today. But why was it like that? This was designed so to protect the traditional rulership structure in the north, because the north had a strong traditional rulership structure. What becomes the long-term effect of that singular action? There was a great differences in educational level. In the south, a high level of educated set of people, and in the north, a great number of mass illiterate people, and there was a great gap. Educated people in the one side and illiterate people in the other side, and it was intentionally done so. After that serious imbalance, what do you think happened next? Now let's look at it. There was competition, resentment, and imbalance, and that imbalance exists to today. Now fast forward to 1960 when Nigeria gained independence. As of that time, there were three key figures: Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and Ahmadu Bello. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Nigeria was not handed independence as a united country, but it was handed over to as three competing regions.
belongs to us, we will never let you have it. It belongs to us, we will never let you have it.
Now, how do you run a nation where loyalty is first to the tribe, then second to the nation? In such atmosphere, you inherit tension and distrust among the three major regions. And then comes the 1959 general election. Just before independence. The 1959 general election that took place just before independence was structured in such a way that the North will have dominance.
The northern tribes are key. Secure their loyalty first.
Then the 1964 general election was seen as generally rigged. Let me ask you a question. If the foundation of what we truly call democracy was flawed from the beginning, can we truly say democracy will stand in that kind of foundation? Can the system truly work in that atmosphere? The answer comes quickly in the next segment. In 1966, Nigeria experienced the first military coup. That is the 1966 Nigeria coup d'etat. And just within a twinkle of an eye, the very democracy the Britain built on a faulty foundation collapsed. But it didn't stop here, because what followed was even worse. The Nigeria Civil War. Led on one side by Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, over 1 million people died. And here is where the UK government still came back into the picture. The UK government supports the Nigerian government militarily and politically. So here's the interesting part. The same power that was responsible in a fragile government also took sides when it began collapsing. Now let's talk oil, because this changes everything. In the 1950s, oil was discovered in the Niger Delta, and British companies like Shell were the lead in extraction. But here is the issue. The system was built for resource extraction, not development. Now understand the pattern. Nigeria became rich in resources but poor in infrastructure and development. Let that sink in. It might interest you to know that oil did not unite Nigeria. It intensified corruption. It fueled conflict. It also creates new power struggle. Here is another important point most people usually miss. Britain did not build stronger institutions before leaving. All of that was not done in the interest of Nigerians. There was no solid judiciary, there was no solid accountability system, and there was no good anti-corruption framework. What they built was a system designed to control people, not to save them, and to channel resources directly to Europe, not to develop Africa. When independence came, Nigeria inherited a weak institution, deep ethnic division, unequal development, and a fragile political system. But let's be honest for a minute, not everything can be blamed on the Britain. Leaders that took over after independence also make some drastic error that still shows corruption become normalized. Military rule disrupt progress. Leadership often prioritize power over development. So, here is the real question. Was Nigeria destined to fail? Or the leadership that was handed over independence could not fix the broken system? Because this still remains the truth. The United Kingdom did not just leave Nigeria, but they left a system that was designed to fail. And Our leader, on the other hand,
The East is vital. Keep them united.
they've
Understood.
been trying to fix. Some have put some effort, but the effort is not really what we can see has materialized. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Nigerian problem started from colonialism, the Britain that colonized us, or the leaders that came afterwards? Let me have your thoughts in the comments.